Very interesting quote that I heard this weekend regarding Sir Lewis Hamilton's forthcoming move, his upcoming move to Ferrari for the 2025 season and beyond. Now, of course, the current boss of Ferrari, the current team principal of Ferrari, is Frederick Vasseur. Now, I love Vasseur. I think he's a great guy. He always comes across really well in the stuff he says in the media, and something he said recently. Very interesting stuff. So Vasseur actually knows Lewis Hamilton because of, they used to work with each other back in the junior formula. I think he was the team principal of ART, which is the team that Hamilton competed with in the likes of the GP2 Championship, which is now Formula 2, and also things like Formula 3, which is, European Formula 3 as was known then, which is now basically where Formula 3 is in the Formula 1 pecking order. Interesting quote here, like I said anyway. It's been doing the rounds this weekend, so I thought I'd do a video on it, just going over what's been said. So he said, and I quote, "I remember that in 2004 we were together in the Euro Series of F3 at the time. He was linked to McLaren Mercedes, but he already had in mind that sooner or later he would go to Ferrari. We talked about it a long time ago. He always had this desire in mind, but obviously he is a driver who wants the guarantees in terms of performance. If he chose to join Ferrari, it confirms to me that we will be able to have the right car. That's the ultimate goal. A driver like Lewis doesn't come to us for a vacation, and from my side, I think we are on the right track in terms of performance. We need a step forward, but I can say that we are devoting a lot of resources to our next project, which is of course the 25 car, but the main one for them is the 26 car. That's their big chance. I mean, by all means, Ferrari, they're up there in terms of the championship this season. They could well get second in the championship this year, I think. They could definitely overtake Red Bull if the forms of both of those teams continue in the same way that they are. And having two excellent drivers like Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz is going to help with that. And having Sir Lewis replacing Sainz is arguably an upgrade for next year. I would say it's an upgrade personally, although I do think Carlos Sainz is a fine driver. And the head of Ferrari also came out a little bit ago and said, Hamilton's not coming to us to retire. He's not coming to us for a big paycheck, although he's getting a big paycheck. Don't get away from that fact. He's going to become the highest paid driver in Formula 1 history, which I'm pretty sure he already is at Mercedes anyway, but he's getting a big old pay rise with that. It's really interesting, this, because for viewers that have been watching Formula 1 for a long time, they'll know that these rumours about Lewis going to Ferrari, they've always been there. To my experience, to my memory, I would say they've been in Formula 1 since 2012 when he ended up moving to Mercedes. It's been on his mind allegedly that entire time. And there's an interview with Sebastian Vettel and Sir Lewis in 2015, I think it was, the first year that Vettel was at Ferrari, and they're kind of having a laugh and a joke. I think it was the BBC, and I think the great Lee McKenzie. Love her. I think she's brilliant, by the way. I think she was the one interviewing them, and basically she was like, could you come to Ferrari one day, Lewis? And Vettel's kind of messing around with him, being like, you kind of admitted you wanted to go to Ferrari. Like, where do your loyalties really? Just a bit of laugh and a joke, a bit of fun between what we thought at the time was going to be the two title rivals. In the end, Lewis absolutely romped that championship. We had no real competition. But in terms of Sir Lewis going to Ferrari, he basically said he grew up a fan of Ferrari. He grew up a fan of watching Michael Schumacher win the races in the way that he did in the early 2000s. I mean, that contradicts another quote from him where he said, you used to switch off the telly after lap one if Michael was leading because you knew he won. But you can enjoy watching someone, but you can respect them at the same time as well. Like, I didn't enjoy a lot of Vettel's wins in Formula 1. I thought a lot of those were quite dull, but it was because he was so good, no one else could challenge him. So you can be a fan of somebody, but also not really enjoy watching them. You can respect them, if you know what I mean. There's a difference there, and that fanboy, that fan kind of, not fanboy, that's a bit disingenuous. That kind of fan mentality really has always been there with Ferrari, and we know it's been there for like the last 10 years or so. He's been semi-openly talking about the possibility, but always committing to Mercedes. Maybe as a bit of a bargaining chip with his contract. Who knows what goes on behind closed doors, but it's finally happened. The dream move, the fantasy move, if you will, is on the cards for next year. And that move, according to Fred Vasseur, has been on the cards for 20 years. But then again, why wouldn't you want to drive for Ferrari? Why wouldn't you? It's a dream move for certainly all Italians in Formula 1, but a lot of other fans too. Ferrari is the most iconic brand in Formula 1, bar none. There is nothing, Formula 1 without Ferrari is not Formula 1. And Ferrari without Formula 1 is not Ferrari. Those two are Whether they like it or not, they are married and they will never separate, and they've always been there ever since the very start. They're the only ones. So but this quote absolutely makes sense, and I totally believe it. What do you guys think? Has Hamilton always wanted to move to Ferrari? I think so. You look at the year as well, 2004. That was the year of Michael Schumacher's 7th world title as well. He must have thought, wow, these guys are unstoppable. Their dominance will never end. But it did. And he was one of the drivers that helped stop it. Irony. But there we go. But yeah, what do you guys think? Sir Lewis in red next year. It's going to take some adjusting, isn't it? But I'm really excited to see what happens with it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more video content on F1 just like this. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you very soon, guys. Have a good one.